MUSIMAX vous souhaite la bienvenue à Musico-Graphie.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Qui aurait cru qu'une réplique si banale s'inscrive dans la culture populaire?
I don't think there's anything in the world that could have prepared me for what happened when Dirthy Dancing came out.
À l'émission d'aujourd'hui, nous vous transporterons dans le monde sensuel du film Danse lascive. Peut-être l'une des meilleures surprises de l'histoire du cinéma, cette fiction romantique a fait des stars de Partick Swayse et Jennifer Grey.
It's just beautiful to be part of something that has given so much to so many people.
It was kind of like a graduation. You know, we came together and we knew we were hot.
Mais le drame à l'écran n'est rien si on le compare aux difficultés qu'ont les producteurs à trouver du financement pour le film.
It bounced around to just about every studio, and every studio said, nah, no good.
Au débat sur l'embauche de Partick Swayze.
Jennifer was horrified to think that we were even thinking of him.
Et aux tribulations sur le plateau.
It was almost like being in battle conditions, you know, it was rain and mud. And
10 people passed out in the course of like 25 minutes of shooting.
All you think about is, please don't let her die on the set.
Vous verrez la fusion du sexe et de la danse.
I think that was my first experience, aside from my wife, of really witnessing the fact that the chemistry between two people can be incredibly powerful and come out of nowhere.
Et enfin, vous apprendrez tout sur la lutte pour que finalement le film sorte en salle.
He said, burn the negative and collect the insurance. He thought it was worthless.
Rejoignez Partick Swayze, Jennifer Grey et Jerry Orbach dans cette émission où l'on se remémorera cette époque magique et ce film inoubliable. Voici l'histoire méconnue du film Danse lascive, version française de Dirthy Dancing.
Her life's ambition was to be a star. Never recovered from the public scandal.
Takes us all back to that one moment in time when life was so simple yet so painfully complicated.
En 1987, Partick Swayze séduit Jennifer Grey dans Danse lascive. Ce film à petit budget que personne ne veut distribuer, mettant en vedette deux acteurs totalement inconnus, connaîtra pourtant un succès monstre. Écoutons Jennifer Grey.
I became really, really famous in a very big global, strangers staring at me everywhere I went, in a very sudden fashion.
I don't think there's anything in the world that could have prepared me for what happened when Dirthy Dancing came out.
Avec ses scènes de danse sensuelle, cette histoire d'amour fait craquer les femmes partout aux États-Unis. La productrice Linda Gottlieb nous explique.
It's a fantasy of a less than gorgeous girl who falls in love with a simply gorgeous guy.
Mais les problèmes de financement du film seraient le sujet d'un film en soi. Le conte de fées qui est devenu Danse lascive raconte en fait l'histoire vécue par l'auteur et scénariste Eleonore Berstein. Cette juive new-yorkaise née en 1938 grandit dans une famille conservatrice.
My father was a Brooklyn doctor who charged $1 for a home visit, for an office visit.
Eleanor et sa sœur aînée Francine sont élevées par leur mère, Sarah Bergstein. L'origine des danses lascives remonte à loin. Adolescente, Eleanore passe ses étés avec sa famille dans de luxueux centres de villégiature situés dans les montagnes Catskills, dans le nord de l'État de New York. Le soir, Eleanore et ses amis sortent en cachette pour s'adonner à des activités torrides, loin des regards des parents.
The Dirthy Dancing steps also came from my life. That was actually the name of the dancing we did. It was called Dirthy Dancing, and we went around to Dirthy Dancing contests.
En 1973, à l'âge de 35 ans, Eleonore Berstein a un nouveau mari, Michael Goldman, et une carrière prometteuse comme romancière. 6 ans plus tard, les portes de Hollywood s'ouvrent grand à Berstein grâce à son scénario It's My Turn. Son histoire devient un film mettant en vedette Michael Douglas. Mais l'idée d'écrire Danse lascive ne lui vient que lorsque les producteurs de It's My Turn décident de couper du film une scène de danse sensuelle. Foudroyée, Eleonore Berstein se promet que son prochain scénario aura pour thème les danses lascives de sa jeunesse. En 1984, elle dîne à Los Angeles avec Eileen Maisel, cadre chez MGM. Maisel est fascinée par l'histoire sensuelle des soirées secrètes dans les Catskills.
She said, "Okay, hey, that's great, that's wonderful."
2 semaines plus tard, Berstein reçoit une nouvelle extraordinaire.
I got a contract in the mail from MGM saying, "You were the originator of the concept of Dirty Dancing." And I remember my husband and I fell off our chairs laughing. We thought it was like being the originator of Sex in a Car.
Berstein fait équipe avec Linda Gottlieb, une productrice d'expérience chez MGM. Eleanore se met tout de suite à travailler sur le scénario.
I started with the music and I wrote the scenes against them.
L'héroïne de l'histoire est Frances Houseman, qu'on appelle Baby, le surnom de Berstein quand elle était jeune.
Baby was moving from the clean teen music, which she was never comfortable with, to the dirty dancing rhythms, which were, of course, the working class rhythms and the rhythms that I, for example, as a little girl, would listen to with the covers over my head.
Berstein et Gottlieb s'attardent longuement aux détails entourant l'histoire.
Could never have happened in 64 and wasn't yet ready to happen in 62.
L'année 1963 est idéale. Cette période sera connue comme le dernier été de l'innocence. Avant que l'année s'achève, le président John F. Kennedy est assassiné et le mouvement américain pour les droits civiques se concrétise. C'est aussi le début de l'invasion du rock britannique. Berstein s'inspire beaucoup de ses propres expériences d'adolescence pour définir le personnage de Baby.
I wanted to change the world, but I really wanted to do it in a matched cashmere sweater set. My parents would hit the golf course, they were big golfers, and I would hit the dance studio.
Mais l'histoire manque de chair. En 1985, Berstein retourne donc aux Catskills pour s'y inspirer. Les centres de villégiature ne sont plus ce qu'ils étaient, mais Eleanore y trouve ce qu'elle cherchait.
I was at the bar and everyone said, Michael Terrace is coming, Michael Terrace is coming, Michael Terrace is coming. Came up to the bar stool and said, "Do you dance?" And brought me out and we did a tango and won a bottle of champagne.
Terrace passe des heures à se remémorer ses heures de gloire comme professeur de danse aux Catskills.
He told me all these stories about these working class kids who had no money but had just gotten out of the service and were suddenly into this summer community where women were stuffing diamonds and money in their pockets.
À la fin de la soirée, le héros masculin est né. C'est Johnny Castle, un jeune professeur de danse sexy et opiniâtre. Au mois de novembre 1985, Berstein retourne à New York pour terminer le scénario. Mais tout ne se passe pas comme prévu. Un nouveau régime s'installe chez MGM et les anciens cadres se font congédier. Le projet de danse lascive est donc mis de côté. Autrement dit, il est à l'eau. Mais Eleanore n'est pas prête à abandonner son projet.
It bounced around to just about every studio, and every studio said, "Nah, no good."
Berstein persiste et trouve une autre stratégie.
I had made a tape called E.B.'s Dirty Dancing that went around with all the music. So I would send the tape around with all the songs behind each scene, which I had done with my with my Walkman against my 45s, and I mean the quality was horrible, but you would know what all the music was, and I sent it around, and people would say, "Hey, this is really no good, we don't like the script, and the kids won't be interested in the music. By the way, I've been playing the tape in my car and it's worn out, can I have another one?"
Enfin, au printemps 1986, après s'être fait claquer la porte au nez pendant 10 mois, Berstein approche la direction des films Vestron. une nouvelle maison de production qui n'a pas encore produit un seul film. Écoutons l'ancien vice-président de Vestron, Mitchell Cannell.
When you start a new film company in Hollywood, a dump truck comes to the back door of the film company and unloads somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 screenplays that no one will have.
Un de ces scénarios se trouve à être Danse lascive. L'histoire transporte Cannell dans le temps, à l'époque de sa jeunesse insouciante, passée dans les montagnes Catskills.
I laughed and I cried throughout the piece, and I thought, goodness, this is the measure of something that the audience wants to see.
Cannell présente immédiatement le scénario à Dirthy Dancing, aussi vice-présidente de Vestron.
The emotion, you're caring about the characters, really rooting for baby from the get-go. On the page, it was all there.
Berstein et Cannell croient que Danse lascive est le projet parfait pour leur compagnie, s'ils peuvent le vendre, bien entendu.
This company had not yet made a movie. It figured it would make movies at $1 million to $2 million. Dirthy Dancing clearly needed a lot more money than that to make it real. And so I met Eleanor and Linda. They talked me through the way they thought they might make it. And the director that they initially had attached to it didn't seem to be exactly the right person in my judgment. And I encouraged them to go back and look at some other choices. And they came to me then subsequently with Emile Ardolino.
En 1984, Ardolino gagne un Oscar pour son documentaire He Makes Me Feel Like Dancing. Berstein lui envoie le scénario de Danse lascive.
Emile was sequestered in jury duty, and he read the script and he sent a message out of jury duty saying, please don't decide on another director until I can talk to you because I'm the best person in the world to do this.
Le rêve d'Eleonore Berstein va peut-être bientôt se réaliser. Après la pause.
He started to dance, and and as Jennifer circled around him, her hand slipped down on his rib, and it was so breathtaking that it was just one of those moments that everybody froze.
Et plus tard,
I just, said, I'll do it, I'll do the love scenes, but in terms of the nudity, I want it to be very specific. I said there's to be no nipples and no ass crack.
En 1986, le projet de film Danse lascive traîne la patte. Son sort est entre les mains des représentants de Vestron Pictures, une jeune compagnie avec peu de ressources qui n'a pas encore fait ses preuves à Hollywood. Les cadres de Vestron adorent le scénario de Danse lascive, mais sont moins qu'enthousiastes à l'idée que le film soit réalisé par Emile Ardolino, malgré son expérience en matière de films sur la danse. Dirthy Dancing, ancienne vice-présidente chez Vestron, nous explique.
This would have been his first feature film project and a first-time feature director. With the time No Stars Attached, it was a big leap for our company to make.
À 44 ans, Ardolino a confiance en ses capacités de réalisateur. Il plaide son cas auprès de la scénariste et productrice Eleonore Berstein.
He said, Eleanor, I will, if I don't do this, I'll help whoever it is. You can have my private phone number. I'll call you at night. I'll teach you about shooting the dancing. I'll do anything I can.
Ardolino contribue au projet par son talent unique, c'est-à-dire son habileté à filmer des scènes de danse avec style et vitalité. Berstein est non seulement convaincu de ses talents, elle croit en plus qu'il est le seul réalisateur capable de mener ce projet à bien.
He said, I want it more than I've ever wanted anything in my life, but I've been disappointed so much I don't think I'm going to get it. And I said, well, we'll make it happen if you want it that much. We'll do it.
Le vice-président Mitchell Cannell accepte d'essayer de convaincre ses collègues chez Vestron d'appuyer le projet. À la réunion, on compte des représentants de la branche comptable de la compagnie hostiles au projet. Tout se passe bien, jusqu'à ce qu'on donne la parole à Ardolino.
Everything had led up to this day, and our passions are high and our expectations are higher. Everybody's tense, and it's Emile's turn, and it's his time to lay out the movie, and I turn it over to Emile, and it's now his moment to sell the movie, and he completely freezes. He was just nervous. It was human. He couldn't speak. He couldn't get a word out.
And he said, Eleanor, will you help me? And so I just started to talk, and I said, we're going to do this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And at the end I said, you know, we're so lucky to have a director who cares so much about this material that it means so much to him that we will all do this. And afterwards I said to Emile, hey, you know, I love that because it made me think that we could do anything, because you knew when you got in trouble that the person to turn to was me, to say, Eleanor, help me, and you knew that I would. I mean, that's great. You know, we'll be able to do anything.
And to their great credit, my colleagues at Vestron said, okay. And they patted us on the back and said, you know, we'll take a chance on this and you, but God damn it, you better be right.
Eleonore Berstein obtient son contrat tant espéré, mais elle a du pain sur la planche. Sa première initiative est d'engager le chorégraphe Kenny Ortega, ancien étudiant du génie de la danse Gene Kelly. Le style unique de danse d'Ortega, un mélange de classique et de contemporain, est sensuel et électrisant. Berstein et lui se rencontrent chez elle à New York.
She said, I have a bunch of 45s and an old phonograph, and could we just dance a little?
En fait, ils dansent beaucoup. À la fin de la soirée, Ortega accepte d'être le chorégraphe du film. Trouver un lieu de tournage ne sera pas aussi facile que trouver un chorégraphe. Berstein et Canold passent les Catskills au peigne fin pour dénicher l'endroit qui incarnerait le mieux l'hôtel Kellerman's où se déroule l'histoire de danse lascive. Mais les Catskills ne sont plus un endroit de villégiature aussi prisé, et leurs bâtiments sont en piètre état.
It turned out that most of the hotels that would look appropriate to Kellerman's in that period of time were unavailable or too expensive or decrepit and just not quite right. And so we ended up at locations that I found in North Carolina.
L'endroit choisi, Lake Lure en Caroline du Nord. Avec ses montagnes dodues et ses petits lacs virginaux, l'emplacement est une copie conforme des Catskills. En 1986, Eleonore Berstein retourne à Hollywood pour élaborer le choix des acteurs. Le réalisateur Emile Ardolino insiste pour que les acteurs soient aussi de bons danseurs. Il s'oppose à l'idée de faire exécuter les pas de danse difficiles par des doublures, comme ça a été le cas dans le film Flashdance en 1983.
There had to be a spark, something magnetic, something that would really create that kind of passion.
Ardolino croit que la passion transparaît dans les yeux et que ni les effets cinématographiques ni une doublure ne pourraient remplacer un acteur passionné. Les auditions commencent. La première comédienne engagée est Cynthia Rhodes. Elle interprète Penny, une danseuse démunie qui a une liaison avec un des employés de l'hôtel. Penny tombe enceinte et elle se voit forcée de se faire avorter, intervention illégale en 1963, l'année où se déroule l'action de danse lascive. Berstein et Ardolino préparent ensuite les auditions pour le rôle de Frances Baby Houseman, le rôle féminin principal. Jennifer Grey, âgée de 26 ans, est la première à passer l'audition. Le père de Jennifer est Joel Grey, acteur et danseur de renom, surtout connu pour son rôle dans le film Cabaret. Jennifer passe son enfance à New York où elle étudie la danse et le théâtre. À l'âge de 19 ans, elle joue son premier rôle dans une publicité de Dr Pepper, ce qui l'amène à jouer des rôles secondaires dans plusieurs films, dont Ferris Bueller's Day Off et Red Dawn.
Her father, Joel Grey, had been in the hall for something else. And as she walked in the door, she turned around and said, "Daddy, wish me luck." And she just totally closed the baby space in my mind.
I thought that it can't be that I'm looking at a piece of paper that describes a character that I felt like only I could play, because that had never happened.
Jennifer veut désespérément ce rôle, et elle fait tout pour mettre en valeur ses qualités.
I brought the Jackson 5, and I put on I Want You Back, which was just a song that made my body move in just crazy ways. And I knew that if I put that on, that something else would take over. And it did.
Les producteurs sont éblouis par le talent de Jennifer. Sa chorégraphie les séduit complètement. Ils ont trouvé leur baby. Le temps est maintenant venu de trouver qui interprétera le rôle principal masculin, Johnny Castle, un professeur de danse issu d'un milieu ouvrier. Le jeune acteur Billy Zane est leur premier choix pour ce rôle.
Billy Zane really looked more like a young Marlon Brando than young Marlon Brando did. I mean, he was just so beautiful.
Zane semble parfait pour le rôle, jusqu'à ce qu'on le voit danser avec Jennifer Grey.
We put the two of them together, but the guy couldn't dance worth a damn.
Billy Zane est rayé de la liste. Le deuxième sur la liste est l'acteur de 34 ans, Partick Swayze, qui s'est fait connaître dans des films comme The Outsider et Red Dawn. Contrairement à Zane, Swayze sait danser. En fait, c'est un ancien élève de la célèbre compagnie de danse Joffrey Ballet.
He had basically been raised on the dance floor. So I could only imagine what our possibilities were if we could actually get a leading man that had dance background.
And I just said, oh my God, we've got to have him. And I remember him coming toward me, and I said, I didn't know that you existed when I wrote this, but now that I have met you, if you decide that you don't want to do it, I really find it hard to imagine how I'll make this movie.
Mais l'enthousiasme de Berstein est vite frustré. L'impresario de Swayze lit le scénario et conseille à son client de refuser le rôle.
Initially, if he didn't look through the cracks, the film could have looked like a little piece of fluff.
Mais Swayze aime bien l'histoire. Après plusieurs lectures du scénario de Danse lascive, il annonce à son impresario qu'il accepte le rôle.
There were so many levels to Johnny, you know, in terms of, you know, he was accepting tips for sleeping with women and that kind of thing. So where he came from was not necessarily all that honorable. So, you know, yet he was a person that was screaming with every fiber of his being to become someone honorable.
Berstein pense avoir trouvé son Johnny, mais avant de conclure l'entente, les producteurs veulent consulter Jennifer Grey. Grey et Swayze ont travaillé ensemble pour le film Red Dawn et, apparemment, ne se sont pas bien entendus du tout.
Jennifer was horrified to think that we were even thinking of him. And I told him this in the car going into the place where he was going to do the set with her. And he said, well, let me go and talk to her.
Jennifer et Patrick s'isolent alors dans une roulotte pour discuter.
It was an important movie for both of us, you know. It had all the elements, you know, that I think the two of us were screaming for in our careers.
They came out of the dressing room with their eyes a little red and teary and clearly had made peace with what had happened on their last film.
Mais la magie naîtra-t-elle entre Swayze et Grey?
They started to dance, and and as Jennifer circled around him, her hand slipped down on his rib, and it was so breathtaking that it was just one of those moments that everybody froze.
Oh, we had a blast as soon as we started laughing together and screwing around. I felt sexy, and I felt like I could make her beautiful. We didn't know what we were doing. We were making it up as we went along, but we just had a kick, and you could feel the buzz in the room. You could feel the energy between us change. I think that's when we realized we got a real connection here and a real chemistry that might possibly come off on film. Then you look around the room and everybody's jaws are dropped and you think, ooh, I think we did pretty good.
It was completely different because he knew how to partner. He had such extensive ballet background, and he knew, and he's such a strong athletic dancer that it felt very different. You know, it was clear that he was in charge and that he was leading, and that I could relax and follow. And I have to say, that's a good thing in a man.
Le rôle principal masculin va à Partick Swayse. Il ne reste donc plus qu'à combler les rôles secondaires. On offre le rôle du père de Baby à l'acteur de théâtre Jerry Orbach.
Read it. I thought it was a kind of a nice departure from me because I was getting sort of typecast into cops and robbers, playing gangsters and things like that. Playing a nice Jewish doctor, father, was a nice departure.
Jane Brucker est une humoriste qui a joué dans le téléroman américain One Life to Live. Berstein l'invite à l'audition et Brucker saute sur l'occasion.
She called me in and she goes, there's this part in this movie. Could you improvise as a spoiled Jewess? And I went, range.
Brucker obtient le rôle de Linda Hausman, la sœur de Baby. Berstein se tourne ensuite vers son amie, la célèbre sexologue Ruth Westheimer, pour incarner le rôle de Madame Schumacher, une cliente de l'hôtel.
Eleanore wanted Joel Grey to play the old man and me, that old lady.
L'idée de jouer dans le film plaît à Westheimer, jusqu'à ce qu'elle lise le scénario.
When I saw that she actually became like a kleptomaniac and stole, I thought to myself, there's a Jewish angel who's watching over me because thank God I didn't play that. I don't want to play an old lady who steals out of purses of people in a hotel in the Catskills.
À la place de Dr. Ruth, les producteurs engagent Paula Truman pour le rôle de la vieille femme. Pour le dernier rôle secondaire à combler, Berstein approche un autre ami, l'animateur radio Cousin Brucey.
She said she'd like me to try out for the social director. So I was at the talent coordinator's office, and I put my whistle on because I figured I was going to blow the whistle. I had it all planned. I was going to make a running leap into the room, and I'm the social director. And I ran into the room. They said, Brucey, come on in. I ran into the room, and I blew the whistle. I said, everyone into the pool. And as I was in midair, I saw a room full of people. And I said, yeah, I was so embarrassed.
Les producteurs prennent Cousin Brucey pour le rôle du magicien. Wayne Knight, un acteur alors inconnu, est retenu pour celui du directeur des loisirs. En juin 1986, la distribution est complète et les danseurs sont prêts. Personne ne peut s'imaginer la magie qui va alors s'opérer dans ces montagnes de la Caroline du Nord. En août 1986, toute l'équipe arrive à Lake Lure, en Caroline du Nord, pour amorcer les répétitions du film Danse lascive. Baby et Johnny sont fin prêts. Le budget du film est de 4 millions de dollars, un chiffre bien en deçà de la moyenne à l'époque, soit 12 millions. L'horaire chargé ne permet que 2 semaines de répétition. Le rythme est effréné. Les chorégraphies compliquées et les longues heures de travail épuisent plusieurs acteurs, dont Jennifer Grey.
You're just constantly trying to keep up, What do I have to do now? You don't have time to think about, wasn't that funny when that happened earlier? You're just on to the next scene. It was like running a marathon.
Le chorégraphe Kenny Ortega est prêt à tout endurer, même que le stress lui réussit plutôt bien.
A lot of us, through the experience, through the dance rehearsals, abandoned our modern selves and really became these sort of 60s alter egos. And we were waking up and we were there, in 1960. Where we slept was where we worked. Where we ate was where we worked.
Partick Swayze incarne son personnage Johnny Castle nuit et jour.
We never stopped dancing. On the set or off the set, we would play in the slave, what we call the slave quarters. When you go through those doors, you walked into our world, and where nothing but a lot of real hot dancing was going on.
Les différences entre le travail et le jeu s'estompent. L'hôtel, jadis tranquille, devient un véritable lieu de festivité et d'allégresse pour toute l'équipe. L'acteur Neil Jones incarne Billy, l'ami de Johnny.
Some of the most outrageous, spontaneous sort of sessions happened in that hotel. We were just having the best time, just dancing, music up.
Les répétitions dégénèrent en fiesta jusqu'au matin. Écoutons l'assistant chorégraphe Miranda Garrison.
I'm literally 24/7, never had the music off, never stopped dancing. That's why it looks so real, because we almost it didn't matter if the camera was on or not.
We owned this hotel in Lake Lure, North Carolina, and we literally ruled it.
We must have drank several truckfuls of liquor and annoyed the entire surrounding counties with the noise.
À l'âge de 63 ans, Jack Weston interprète le rôle de Max Kellerman, le gérant de l'hôtel. Même lui ne peut résister à l'euphorie et l'enjouement qui règnent sur le plateau.
Wayne Knight and I came up around the corner of a hallway, and we saw, and I can remember it like it's yesterday, Eleanor and Jack Weston locked in the most erotic pose. And you could tell that Eleanor, no problem, she was so fit and lithe, you know what I mean? And poor Jack was thinking, I'm going to have a heart attack in any second. Oh, God, it was delicious.
Des répétitions interminables et des soirées sans fin poussent l'équipe à bout. Mais les danseurs continuent quand même à se donner à fond.
Whirling, dipping, spinning, try it again, new step, stroll line happening,
L'énergie sur le plateau ne cesse de s'accroître. Le réalisateur Emile Ardolino voit peu à peu ses personnages prendre vie. Jennifer Grey se transforme en Baby, une petite princesse qui manque d'assurance, mais qui veut étudier l'économie et se consacrer à des causes humanitaires.
I identified a lot with being a Jewish girl and feeling like within my family that I was very special and beautiful. But I wished I, had, long, straight blonde hair and, a perfect nose and all the things that, growing up as an adolescent that you feel like you just want to be like other people.
Partick Swayze personnifie Johnny Castle, un rebelle qui aime la vitesse, le blues et qui déteste tout particulièrement les bourgeois et leurs manières.
There was something about Johnny that I think we all kind of have at some point in our lives of wanting to be accepted, and wanting to make something of yourself, but you're from the wrong side of the tracks and it's very likely that you'll ever be allowed to. Yet, if you don't give up on that passion, that you can make your dreams come true.
D'autres acteurs approfondissent leur personnage en lui ajoutant une touche personnelle. Miranda Garrison, l'assistante chorégraphe, se voit obligée de donner 2 fois plus d'elle-même. En plus de remplir ses fonctions sur le plateau, on lui demande d'incarner Vivian, une mondaine hypersexuée folle de Johnny Castle.
Originally, the outfit was going to be like a Jackie Kennedy look, and I said, oh no, Vivian would have been stuck in 1955. Please give me the Jane Russell kind of thing with the... because I really believe that made that woman somewhat poignant, at least.
La comédienne Jane Brucker pratique un petit rituel pour se glisser dans la peau de son personnage.
I had a thing with my neck for doing Lisa. Every time I would do Lisa, I would just, she feels like she's a little, swan, and so she was always like, a little necky. So that was the thing that would bring me into her, because she wasn't really like me.
Le comédien Jerry Orbach s'inspire aussi de son expérience de parent pour interpréter Jake Houseman, le père surprotecteur de Baby.
I identified with him as a father. I had 2 sons instead of 2 daughters, but I could certainly understand his feelings.
Tout au long du tournage, Eleonore Berstein encourage fortement les acteurs à improviser.
Usually the writer's word is God, and if you try to change it, they'll have you killed. But she was really malleable and willing to play and change and make it happen.
Le 5 septembre 1987, les 2 semaines de répétition se terminent. Ce dernier jour, la tension sexuelle entre les danseurs atteint son apogée, même chez les figurants, parmi lesquels on compte des adolescents du coin et 8 danseurs gitans venus de New York.
We were putting them together, and they were grinding very, very, very tightly together, and they were, teenage kids. And the guys had very specific reactions to this, which, rather startled the girls. The steps are the steps, and they're really very tight, grinding steps. We said that there was a rule that these guys could not contact the girls they were dancing with for 6 months. So then the guys started coming up to me saying, Eleanor, is this 6 months from the time we stop rehearsing or from the time the movie is released?
Mais personne n'égale la magie incroyable qui naît sur la piste de danse entre Partick Swayze et Jennifer Grey.
This is a great job. This is the greatest job. I remember thinking, this is unbelievable. And it felt so magical.
The levels got deeper and deeper and deeper, and we got better and better, and everybody talks about, well, do they have chemistry? I think that was my first experience, aside from my wife, of really witnessing the fact that the chemistry between 2 people can be incredibly powerful and come out of nowhere.
Si puissant même que les producteurs commencent à se poser des questions, non pas à propos de Grey de Swayze, mais à propos du titre du film. Après tout, le tournage a lieu dans un des coins les plus puritains des États-Unis.
The scripts never said Dirty Dancing. This is a very religious area, and they had a feeling that if people found out we were shooting a movie called Dirty Dancing, they would have thought it was porn.
La moindre trace de pornographie dans le titre et le film est fini.
We never thought it was going to be called Dirty Dancing. Dirty Dancing it just sounded like a bad, cheesy, dirty movie. And we had a contest going the whole movie. Whoever could think of, the new title.
Body to body, do you want to dance, body dancing, step on the 2.
Autumn of '63, the day the music died, anything besides Dirty Dancing.
I think someone on the crew came up with, "Do you want to dance?" And I liked that first. That was a personal favorite of mine.
Mais le titre suggestif n'est pas le seul point de controverse du film Danse lascive. À la mi-septembre 1986, après 2 semaines de répétitions intensives, toute l'équipe du film Danse lascive a hâte de commencer le tournage. Quand les caméras tournent, la tension sexuelle sur le plateau est électrisante. Mais avant même que l'équipe puisse achever la première scène, une violente tempête s'abat sur tout le sud-est américain.
It was almost like being in battle conditions, you know, it was rain and mud and 45-minute drive to the nearest restaurant.
It was not raining, it was torrential raining. It was like floods. And I remember they bought all of us boots and fisherman outfits, and we all had umbrellas. I mean, I believe the economy of Lake Lure and that entire area must have increased by 800%.
De jour en jour, les producteurs sont contraints de remanier l'horaire très serré du tournage qui doit durer 44 jours. Ils filment alors autant de scènes intérieures que possible. Mais une fois que les vents se sont enfin affaiblis, une vague de chaleur insupportable accable la Caroline.
There were times where we were dancing in a room that had an 8-foot ceiling with cameras and lights, and it was 105 outside and 125 inside, where 10 people passed out in the course of like 25 minutes of shooting.
La chaleur intense est intenable, même pour des danseurs qui ont pourtant une forme physique exceptionnelle. Mais pour Paula Truman, une dame de 79 ans, une telle chaleur pose un risque très sérieux. Truman incarne Madame Schumacher, une vieille femme vigoureuse avec un penchant pour la kleptomanie.
She was very old and very frail, and we were shooting in the middle of the heat, and she had to keep dancing and twirling. And you know, it's really awful, but when you produce a movie and you're just thinking about how they're going to take it away from you if you're over budget and you're on overtime, all you think about is, please don't let her die on the set. Please let's get through this day. And furthermore, if she has to keel over, could she please do it when we're not shooting? And all of a sudden, Paula Truman, before my eyes, swooned and fell down.
Truman est amené d'urgence à l'hôpital. On traite sa déshydratation, puis on lui donne son congé. 3 jours plus tard, d'autres problèmes d'ordre médical surviennent. Partick Swayze insiste pour faire ses propres cascades et il se blesse assez grièvement pour mettre la production en péril.
The day that we were doing the scene on the log, he fell, and he fell several times, and his knee swelled up hugely.
Swayze ignore simplement la douleur.
When you're putting 100% of your passion into something, you know, a little thing like an injury is nothing but a gnat in your ear. It's like, get out of my way. I've got to stay with the work. You know, I've got to get back to the work. So I did run to the hospital, got them, you know, to pull, I don't know, about 5 huge syringes of fluid off my knee, and I went straight back to the log and we kept going.
Mais la production prend tout de même du retard. L'histoire est censée se dérouler dans les Catskills en plein été 1963. Mais l'automne arrive à grands pas, avec toutes ses couleurs. Le rouge des feuilles trahit la saison. Le concepteur des décors, Dave Chapman, nous raconte.
Well, my wonderful art director, Mark Hack, was literally out there with a plant sprayer, spraying plants green, leaves and trees, and himself, I might add. He was green for weeks.
It was the weirdest thing in the world to see all these people running around with spray cans painting brown leaves green again.
La production doit maintenant affronter les températures automnales. Après la canicule étouffante, la température chute subitement à 5 degrés Celsius. Gray et Swayze doivent, de surcroît, plonger dans l'eau glacée pour tourner une scène clé du film.
For me, it was a real bonding moment, you know, for the two of us, that she could trust me, that I wouldn't drop her, I wouldn't let her get hurt.
It was really freezing, but we just couldn't be without that.
And I remember everyone wearing big down coats with their hoods up and gloves, you know, and we are having to get in the water in jeans and a shirt, you know, and stay in there and look and love. And I remember being like, you know, you can't breathe because it's so cold. It was, and I remember saying, are you sure you can't die from your nipples exploding?
Gray et Swayze survivent à la scène, mais les longues journées et les courtes nuits commencent à miner les liens, en apparence solides, qui unissent les deux comédiens.
I mean, it was often very difficult on the set. They're just very different temperaments. I mean, Patrick is a daredevil. Patrick will do anything. He never wants a stunt double. He's a risk junkie. You know, he just loves to be there on the edge. And Jennifer is a more cautious person. She's a much more emotional person. She would frequently break down in tears when something wasn't right or wasn't going well, and she'd be upset, and he would roll his eyes and mutter and walk off the set.
Gray et Swayze ne sont pas les seuls à ressentir le stress du tournage. Plusieurs se tournent vers Jerry Orbach pour des conseils.
It was kind of a difficult shoot. It was difficult physically and difficult emotionally for some people. I mean, I had a pretty good time, but I had to be really be the father once in a while to people that were going through whatever problems they had.
Le comédien Lonnie Rice incarne Neil, le petit-fils un peu andouille de Max Kellerman, propriétaire de l'hôtel. Price se souvient de la compassion d'Orbach envers les autres comédiens.
Max Cantor, the guy who was in it as well, who was somewhat troubled at that time, and I remember Jerry being very fatherly to him and very loving to this guy who was really sort of going through some stuff.
Querelle d'acteurs, pluie torrentielle, température extrême et blessures accidentelles laissent les producteurs la mine basse. Comme si s'abattaient sur eux les 7 plaies d'Égypte, voici qu'arrivent les insectes.
I remember the makeup artist had to come in and touching up mosquito bites all over my body because there were so many bugs.
Jennifer got stung by a wasp during the Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow scene. You know, Have You Had Many Women? And she just went right on taping.
And I kind of have a little bit of allergic reaction to these things, so I think it kind of got swollen. I think that, yeah, that was nice. That was a nice touch too, yeah.
Malgré toute une suite de délais imprévus, le tournage se poursuit. Pendant ce temps, le producteur Mitchell Canold se heurte à des difficultés quand il se présente à la frontière canadienne avec une cassette d'extrait du tournage.
I got stopped by the Canadian customs people and the border police because the outside of the cassette said Dirthy Dancing, and of course at that point nobody had heard of the movie, nobody knew what the title meant, and they thought it was a XXX porno film. And so I was stopped and interrogated, and they threatened to strip search me to try to verify that these were not contraband because they were part of a porno movie and that I was a porno movie producer. They were 3/4 inch video, so it was difficult to screen. They didn't have the facilities, but ultimately they believed me.
En Caroline du Nord, Jennifer Grey et Partick Swayze se disputent avant presque chaque scène.
You always want to think when you've loved a movie like this and you've related so deeply to the love scene that the characters were really in love. And while that may have been the point at one moment in the course of their relationship, by the time they reached the love scene, it was not the case. And I remember being executive producer and the executive in charge of the film, having to deal with an intense negotiation, respecting Jennifer's preference to minimize the nudity in the film.
I just, said, I'll do it, I'll do the love scenes, but in terms of the nudity, I want it to be very specific. I said there has to be no nipples and no ass crack.
I guess shooting the love scenes was pretty intimidating. You know, everybody says, oh, God, aren't love scenes a blast to shoot? They're the scariest thing in the world because it's so personal, and you're like, you got all these people standing around watching you try to do something so personal. And, like people say, well, don't you get excited? I'm saying, getting excited for a guy in a situation like that is the farthest thing from the truth.
La rivalité entre les deux vedettes met le film en péril. Et la scénariste Eleonore Berstein et le réalisateur Emile Ardolino ont une idée. Ils invitent les deux comédiens à visionner la cassette vidéo de leurs auditions.
I remember Jennifer said, oh my God, no wonder we got the jobs, because it was so extraordinary. Then they kind of spun off that to do that fabulous sequence that they do in the room. So, life imitated art, imitated life, imitated art, and back and forth and back and forth.
La stratégie semble bien fonctionner. Jennifer et Patrick retournent devant les caméras avec un nouvel entrain et une énergie ravivée.
We were shooting the scene where Jennifer's arm goes up in the air and Patrick's hand comes down and she starts to giggle. She was really giggling. She was exhausted. And Patrick was really angry. He wanted to get the hell out of there. And I remember Emile saying, fight it, stay in it, don't break, don't quit, don't cut, do it again. And that he kept putting that arm up and coming down her arm. And she'd giggle and he'd roll his eyes back, and it was one of the most wonderful, delicate, powerful, honest moments in the film.
When you're tired, kind of great things can happen too, because you're not controlling everything, you're not trying to make everything perfect or do it right, or You have this preconceived notion of how it's supposed to go. And when you're really, really strung out, and you're really tired, other stuff happens because you're just broken down, because you can't stop laughing.
I mean, I'm really teaching her to dance, even though she had a phenomenal amount of talent. You know, I really do get frustrated when she's being silly and I'm trying to be serious and get her to learn something, you know. And she got frustrated with me, but it all was the kind of stuff that we had the camera rolling while we did it. So it really was like slice of life.
Oh, I wouldn't rehearse the lift. Patrick would, oh, come on, let's practice the lift. And I don't want to. He goes, I never dropped a woman. I never dropped a woman. He would always tell me, I've never dropped a woman. And I said, well, yeah, we'll just wait.
Pour un film qui se veut essentiellement musical, il manque un élément clé. Une bande originale. Pendant les répétitions et durant le tournage, les comédiens ont dansé sur des vieux 45 tours de la collection d'Eleonore Berstein. Les cadres de Vestron se tournent donc vers Jimmy Ienner, qui a réalisé des chansons pour John Lennon et le groupe Three Dog Night pour s'en occuper. Ienner est surpris de découvrir qu'il y a un vrai talent musical dans la distribution, Partick Swayse.
I said, you know, I got this song that just feels so perfect, you know, because it's a song about a guy who feels the person he's falling in love with is out of his league and would never even notice him.
She's like the wind. I was shocked that he did it. I couldn't believe that he did it. I didn't realize he was a singer on top of everything else.
Jimmy Ienner obtient les autorisations nécessaires pour utiliser les chansons de la collection de Berstein, mais il a de la difficulté à trouver la chanson parfaite pour la scène sentimentale de la fin.
Miranda and I had this box of tapes, and we listened to every single one of them. And this is the truth. The last tape was a song called The Time of My Life.
I remember them bringing us some songs to listen to, the things they were testing, and I heard that song and I was like, this is it. This is it. This is a great song. Couldn't get it out of our heads.
I've Had the Time of My Life est écrite par Frank Previtt et John DiNicola. La chanson décrit admirablement bien l'émotion d'un amour clandestin de jeunesse.
So we took each other's hand, 'cause we seemed to understand the urgency. Just remember, you're the one thing I can't get enough of.
I would have to say, when Jennifer and I do that last dance, it really was something, you know, because we've both grown so far, and as actors, it was kind of like a graduation. You know, we came together and we knew we were hot.
No, I never felt this way before. Yes, I swear it's the truth, and I owe it all to you.
Le 27 octobre 1986, le tournage de Danse lascive est terminé. Étonnamment, la production ne respecte pas son budget et son calendrier de tournage. Pour l'équipe, les semaines passées à travailler sur Danse lascive ont été à la fois épuisantes et palpitantes. Une expérience inoubliable. Dans la deuxième partie, le film sort enfin en salle.
He said, burn the negative and collect the insurance.
Tout le monde en parle. Certaines rumeurs avancent l'idée d'une suite. Au printemps 1988, les dirigeants des productions Vestron célèbrent leur succès et leur immense profit, mais avec une certaine réserve.
Any Hollywood company or non-Hollywood film company that has a hit of the magnitude of Dirty Dancing says to itself, well, we've got to redo this. Our investors were crazed, and rightly so. No one had ever seen a return on their investment in the movie business like this up until that point at all. So of course everybody was crazed to try to figure out a way to make a sequel.
La scénariste et productrice Eleonore Berstein trouve ridicule l'idée de faire une suite.
I felt that people needed to experience Baby and Johnny, and that any sequel needed to be in real time, and that the really interesting story about what happened to them was later. That if you wanted to pick them up again, it would be later in time, that it was really wrong.
Mais Vestron insiste fortement pour qu'on produise Danse lascive 2.
They had the legal right to do it without me, and the idea of someone else using my characters. I mean, after all, nobody knows the name of the writer-producer. I mean, you know, they just know that it's Baby and Johnny. It just would really put me into a fetal shout. I mean, I would wake up in the night.
De son côté, Partick Swayze subit aussi beaucoup de pression de la part de Vestron. On lui offre une somme alléchante pour incarner de nouveau Johnny Castle, le professeur de danse qui a conquis le cœur de Baby Houseman.
Patrick turned down, I believe, $6 million and gave a statement to the Wall Street Journal. I always remember in an interview that said, we will never, never, never do this without Eleanore. She's the heart and soul of this, and we'll never do it without her. And I was so beholden to him because, you know, it just made everything different.
And they were offering a lot of money, you know, that made it very difficult, you know, to turn down. Part of you's going, oh, my Lord, I could retire. But I just, from an integrity standpoint, I couldn't.
Jerry Orbach a joué le rôle du père de Baby. Lui non plus ne voit pas l'intérêt de tourner une suite à danse lascive.
In such a specific time and place, and the coming of age of a young girl that so many kids I have identified with over the years. You know, we've met girls that say they've seen it 100 times. I don't know if there is such a thing as a sequel. You know, Baby gets married and raises kids, you know, it doesn't sound too appealing.
Mais les gains éventuels sont très attrayants. Les producteurs entament alors la recherche d'un bon scénario.
Movies with them again, together at the hotel, not at the hotel, in the city, at college. Movies with just Johnny, movies with just Baby. We tried every possible permutation, you know, but ultimately no one was able to capture what Eleanor had captured.
Vestron n'a ni scénario ni vedette. Il ne lui reste que très peu d'options.
Eleanor understood that there was a essential moment in these people's lives that this was about. This was about her coming of age. This was about her transition into womanhood. The truth that she was able to construct between these two was not something that any other writer, no matter how talented, could capture. And I respect that Eleanor knew that the right thing to do was leave the magic in the bottle and leave it alone.
Par contre, en 1988, les cerveaux de CBS approchent Cannell et ses collègues chez Vestron pour leur proposer de faire de Danse lascive une série télévisée. Mais il y a un hic. CBS veut changer l'équipe de production pour une équipe qui a l'habitude de pondre une émission par semaine. La scénariste Eleonore Berstein, le réalisateur Emile Ardolino et la productrice Linda Gottlieb sont tous exclus du projet télévisé.
They didn't work with any of the original creators. The people who did that show thought that they could do it without Eleanor, without me, without Emile. We had a heart. There was a humanity. We weren't making fun of people. And that translated itself into the movie. And that really never got into the television series, which I think was kind of cheap and middle American, an attempt to please everyone and please no one.
None of us were involved and gave me an enormous amount of sorrow.
Le jeune acteur Patrick Cassidy est choisi pour jouer Johnny.
I really didn't care about being compared because I knew comparisons would be made. I was more interested in to see how it would actually translate to television.
Les cadres de CBS s'inquiètent quant au contenu ethnique de l'émission.
The movie was about a Jewish girl meeting a non-Jewish guy and the dynamics with their family and their cultures and their worlds coming together from, you know, different sides of the track. And really, that was something that CBS was nervous about at the time.
The television series took what was special about the movie and removed it. As a result, they turned Kellerman's into a kind of Lilly Pulitzer Gentile resort because they were so afraid of anything Jewish.
Laura Harden est engagée pour jouer aux côtés de Cassidy. Ni l'un ni l'autre ne sont juifs.
With the TV show, it all kind of blended together. People, the way it was cast and the storyline, you didn't have that same dynamic, and people were too similar. And so it was harder to care about the relationships and to get involved in where their relationship would go because there wasn't the same tension.
La première de l'émission est diffusée le samedi 29 octobre 1988. Avec de nouveaux producteurs, une nouvelle équipe de comédiens et de la danse pas tout à fait lascive, l'émission manque d'âme et de cœur. Le public n'accroche pas.
The first week it had this huge high audience share, And the second week, it just catapulted. It's just they looked at it and they said, no, this is not Dirty Dancing. And that made me so proud of them and so relieved, because my worst nightmare had been that it would cloud and replace the memory of what we had done.
Les cotes d'écoute de la série Danse lascive poursuivent leur chute. En janvier 1989, après seulement 10 épisodes, l'émission est retirée des ondes.
Part of the reason why the film, resonates for as many people across all kinds of societies is that it is a one-time only life experience. And each of us has had it, and each of us relates to it in a different way. But somehow Dirty Dancing captures that moment for so many of us. But there isn't a second moment like that. It doesn't happen again.
Les affaires ne vont pas si bien non plus pour Partick Swayze, malgré sa célébrité internationale.
It seems like this country wants to, to build gods so they can tear them down and destroy them. And I just didn't want any of it to affect me. I wanted to keep myself focused on, becoming the best actor I could possibly become, and just let this, stuff just kind of float over me and beyond me. But the world and the industry don't let you do that.
Swayze rejette scénario après scénario.
It seems like the industry's bound and determined to turn you to a whore. That person that's out there, only to do things to, for grosses and make the box office go crazy, and then you find yourself getting sucked into that mentality, and you're looking for hits as opposed to looking for quality. If you let it go to that place, whoa, the destructiveness that can come out of you. The demons that come out of your insides are devastating. I mean, I stayed out of drugs. You can't even talk to your wife about how lonely it is and how weird it's like when you used to be a people person and now you have to live an incredibly reclusive, private life that you didn't plan. You didn't ever anticipate that is what stardom would do. I started getting real lonely and feeling like there was no place to hide, nobody to talk to.
À 36 ans, Swayze met fin à son exil. En 2 ans, il joue dans Tiger Warsaw, Roadhouse et Next of Kin. Mais ses films sont coulés par les critiques et ignorés du public. Jennifer Grey, de son côté, tombe dans l'oubli complet. Les producteurs ne la voient que dans le rôle d'une juive adolescente vulnérable et naïve.
It's unnatural. It's unnatural, and I think that for me, it's part of what really made me figure out who I was. It was part of, realizing that you become so identified with a public persona or of an idea of who you are that people think they know you, and they don't. And the truth is, maybe you don't yet either.
À 29 ans, Jennifer Grey s'acharne en vain à se dénicher un rôle. Finalement, en 1989, on l'engage pour jouer dans Bloodhounds of Broadway, un film mettant en vedette Madonna et Matthew Modine. Malheureusement pour Grey, le film est un échec au box-office. Les choses s'annoncent mal pour Partick Swayze et Jennifer Grey. Après la pause, Danse lascive perd son réalisateur.
And his partner picked up the phone, weeping, saying everything is not all right, Emil is dying.
En 1990, il ne reste plus rien de l'engouement pour Danse lascive. Le projet de tourner Danse lascive 2 ne décolle pas. La série télévisée est retirée des ondes et les carrières de Partick Swayze et de Jennifer Grey n'ont plus beaucoup d'éclat. 3 ans après sa performance saisissante dans Danse lascive, Swayze s'enlise dans le marasme. Des rôles dans des films moins que mémorables et sa lutte contre l'alcoolisme le rabattent et l'empêchent de se reprendre en main.
I finally said, you know what? I'm going to have a great time screwing up my career. I'm going to have a great time doing things that just turn me on, whether they're about big box office or not. And that got me back on the right road of rediscovering my sense of purpose, and that as an actor you have an opportunity to affect people on a huge level, and an incredibly intense level, but more than any other opportunity I think that exists on the earth. So that put me back on a really healthy road to reinventing Partick Swayze's career.
En 1990, à l'âge de 38 ans, Swayze fait un retour grâce à son rôle dans le Mon fantôme d'amour, aux côtés de Demi Moore et de Whoopi Goldberg. Le film remporte l'Oscar du meilleur scénario et récolte quelques 200 millions au box-office. Pour sa part, Jennifer Grey accepte des rôles un peu moins célestes, mais non moins intéressants. On la voit dans des séries télévisées, dont Murder in Mississippi. À 30 ans, Jennifer finit par assumer le rôle qui l'a rendue célèbre, celui de Baby.
It's just beautiful to be part of something that has given so much to so many people. And I have to tell you, that's immensely gratifying. You know, I remember when Gilda Radner was dying of cancer, and Gene Wilder told me later that that was her favorite movie, and that's what she watched the whole time when she was really sick, and that gave her so much joy and solace, and, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, I think that, I don't know about anyone else, that's why I'm doing it.
Pour Jerry Orbach, qui incarne le père protecteur de Baby, le travail n'a jamais manqué. En 1989, il joue dans Crime et Châtiment de Woody Allen et Last Exit to Brooklyn de Ulrich Edel. Puis un an plus tard, Orbach déniche le rôle qui marquera définitivement sa longue et éminente carrière de plus de 30 ans. Celui de Lenny Briscoe dans la série télé La Loi et l'Ordre. Wayne Knight profite de sa réputation acquise dans Danse lascive où il joue un personnage détestable pour décrocher un rôle dans la populaire comédie Seinfeld. On lui confie aussi le rôle de Dawn Leslie Orville dans la série Third Rock from the Sun. Cynthia Rhodes, qui joue Penny, la petite danseuse blonde, devient l'épouse de la vedette pop Richard Marx en 1989. À 33 ans, Rhodes abandonne sa carrière de comédienne pour tenter sa chance en musique. Le succès l'attend avec son groupe Animotion. En 1989, la chanson Calling It Love se loge confortablement dans les palmarès pop. Mais il n'y a pas de quoi célébrer chez Vestron Pictures, la maison qui a produit Danse lascive. En effet, la boîte fait faillite en 1990 après une suite de désastres au box-office. La compagnie est rachetée par Live Entertainment le 11 janvier 1991. Mais l'épilogue le plus étrange de la saga de Danse lascive concerne Max Cantor, celui qui courtise la sœur de Baby dans le film.
A slight impression of Max is sort of the impression of Andy Kaufman, where it sort of seems like he was not comfortable in his human coil, you know, because his spirit was not comfortable. He thought a lot. He was constantly worried about everything.
Cantor délaisse sa carrière d'acteur pour entreprendre la rédaction d'un livre sur Daniel Rockowitz, un présumé tueur new-yorkais qui aurait découpé sa copine en morceaux. Mais l'étude sur les horreurs de Rockowitz ne sera jamais terminée. Le 3 octobre 1991, on retrouve Cantor mort dans son appartement de Greenwich Village. Il n'a que 32 ans. Les rumeurs voulant que sa mort soit reliée à ses recherches sont vite démenties. L'autopsie révèle que Cantor est mort d'une surdose d'héroïne.
I have a lovely memory of Max. One Sunday, Emile and I were working, as we always were, and we were on the porch of the inn, and we suddenly heard the most beautiful Chopin played on the piano, and then we went inside, and it was Max playing the piano. And we said, Max, it's wonderful, and we sat all afternoon while he played, and we worked, and he was a brilliant pianist, and a very natural and a very good actor. He gave us exactly what he wanted.
Max Cantor n'est pas le seul membre de l'équipe à mourir. Emile Ardolino, le réalisateur de Danse lascive ainsi que du film Sister Act, tombe horriblement malade.
One night I had a dream that he was weeping, and I went to the phone and I called him and I said into the answering machine, look, I dreamt that you were crying and you don't have to call me back, but is anything wrong? And if it is, can I help? And his partner picked up the phone, weeping, saying everything is not all right, Emile is dying.
Ardolino est atteint du sida. À l'automne 1993, Bergstein lui rend visite à l'hôpital.
He was in a coma, but I walked into the room and he sat up and I said, Emile, can I hug you? And he put out his arms.
Le 20 novembre 1993, la maladie emporte Emile Ardolino. Il n'a que 50 ans.
I would say to anybody, if we leave any legacy of this friendship, it's that even when you've been as close as Emile and I were, and we were the most beloved collaborators and friends, there's always more to say. and there are always more words of connection and love. And, you know, in his name, I would say, try to do this with all your friends. Dirthy Dancing is full of his spirit. He was a great director and a great spirit and a great man, and nobody could have done it as he did. I mean, he made you really understand what it felt like to be dancing, and that is the message of the film.
He just exuded an energy that was magnetic, you know. Because he was willing to work as hard or harder than you were. He was willing to hang in there for, to find the gold no matter what it took. And I miss him a whole lot.
Mais le 16 août 1997, le génie d'Ardolino ressuscite lorsque Artisan Entertainment achète les droits pour Danse lascive. La compagnie ressort le film à l'occasion de son 10e anniversaire.
Well, I hope a lot of kids get to see it who were too young then, and then the people who loved it then, I would love it if, they got to see it again. A lot of people seem to love it, and it really makes me happy.
Amazing. 10th year anniversary, and they're re-releasing it, and it's just going to be a lot of fun to watch, and have the time of our lives again.
Toute une nouvelle génération de cinéphiles est éblouie par la magie de Danse lascive.
It was completely unexpected, and it just kept going, and it's still going. That's the thing that's, I'm just flummoxed by the fact that, that kids now are watching it as their favorite movie, and old people watch it as their favorite movie, and everyone has a different relationship to it, whether it was their childhood and they were in the Catskills in the 60s, or it's just pure nostalgia from them.
I think once the release came, I said, it'll be such a learning curve to see how people who saw it when they were 20 feel about it now that they're 30. Now there are 12-year-olds who love it, and their learning curve is complete because they weren't even ideas when this movie came out. And so I think that has catapulted me into feeling that it's, in the future, and that is so sweet. That's wonderful.
Dans le sillage de Danse lascive, Eleonore Berstein écrit et réalise le film Let It Be Me, mettant en vedette Jennifer Beals et Campbell Scott. Mais la popularité inépuisable de Danse lascive lui inspire l'idée de donner une seconde vie à sa création qui date déjà de plus de 15 ans. Elle veut adapter le scénario pour le théâtre et lancer Danse lascive sur Broadway.
We thought, wow, what a no-brainer. This would be such a phenomenal thing.
This notion of the audience that wanted to be present at Dirthy Dancing will be present at the live events. And while some things are happening, other things are also happening, so they're getting to see more than they saw in the movie.
La première de Danse lascive, la comédie musicale, devrait avoir lieu en 2001. Berstein et les producteurs espèrent que les fans du film feront de la pièce un succès durable.
Eleanor was saying there's a club of people that have seen the movie, gone to the movie 600 times, a 600 club. And I thought it was the 100 club. She goes, that's nothing. It's the 600 club you got to belong to. So there's a fan base of this movie that blows my mind.
I think people see it over and over and over and over again, not because it's the best film ever made. I mean, I can't look at it without seeing things that I wish were better, but because it's presiding over their lives and in some way giving them a kind of particular energy to live their lives.
Après la pause, Partick Swayze frôle la mort.
To pop it back up, chop the power, drop the flaps and gear, and get there.
Depuis sa sortie en 1987, Danse lascive a généré plus de 300 millions de dollars américains partout dans le monde, engendre 2 bandes originales certifiées platine et émerveille des générations de cinéphiles. Rien ne semble atténuer l'engouement pour ce film. Même si Danse lascive est à jamais inscrit dans la culture populaire, les vedettes et les créateurs du film visent toujours plus haut. En 1996, les velléités de Partick Swayze pour faire ses propres cascades le mènent à l'hôpital. L'acteur casse-cou se blesse gravement sur le plateau de tournage du film d'action Letters from a Killer. En plein milieu d'une scène, Swayze est projeté de son cheval et s'écrase sur le tronc d'un arbre. Il se casse les 2 jambes et se déchire 4 tendons à l'épaule. Le tournage est interrompu pendant 6 mois. Le film passe enfin à la station américaine HBO en 1999. Swayze se remet de ses blessures, mais sa carrière continue à boiter. Ses films Black Dog et Without a Word sont des échecs terribles au box-office. Mais Swayze se reprend en l'an 2000 avec des rôles prometteurs dans Waking Up in Reno, mettant aussi en vedette Billy Bob Thornton et Charlize Theron, et dans le film Forever Lulu avec Melanie Griffith.
I'm really excited about all of them. You know, when you put 100% of yourself into a movie, you can't really say, well, I like that one better, you know.
Mais Swayze n'a pas fini de danser avec la mort. Pilote breveté, Patrick décolle de Los Angeles le 1er juin 2000 en direction de Las Vegas. En plein désert, dans les alentours de la vallée de Prescott, en Arizona, le Cessna de Swayze connaît des difficultés.
I had a pressurization problem and I had to do an emergency descent and start looking for, had a very loud noise that sounded like an engine was coming off. So I had to find a place to put it down fast. And well, it would have been totally uneventful if I could have seen these light poles from the air. But and I also had a crew of guys standing on the end of the runway kind of watching me right where I needed to put the airplane down, so I had to pop it back up. Oh, excuse me. I had to pop it back up, chop the power, drop the flaps and gear, get the airplane dirty and kill my speed to jump over them and then land it. And so that killed about a third of the landing space I had. So me and my dogs walked away from it and they slept through it.
Really?
Yeah, they did. They never woke up.
Swayze raconte cette histoire à la police et aux journalistes quelques 12 heures après l'accident en question. Le lendemain, 4 habitants du coin déclarent à la police qu'après l'accident, Swayze leur aurait demandé de le débarrasser d'une demi-caisse de bière et d'une bouteille de vin vide. Swayze nie catégoriquement ces déclarations. L'affaire ne va pas plus loin. Jennifer Grey a aussi quelques accidents de parcours. Grey n'a pas su profiter de sa célébrité. Son rôle de baby houseman l'empêche même de se trouver d'autres personnages intéressants à incarner. En 1999, à l'âge de 39 ans, elle décroche un rôle principal dans la série It's Like You Know. Elle y joue son propre rôle, mais la série est annulée après une seule saison en raison de mauvaises cotes d'écoute. Tout comme Partick Swayze, Jennifer Grey n'abandonne pas si facilement. Son dernier film, Bounce, connaît un certain succès. Il met en vedette Ben Affleck et Gwyneth Paltrow. Quelques 14 ans se sont écoulés depuis que Patrick et Jennifer Grey ont fait palpiter les cœurs dans Danse lascive, un film qu'ils ne sont pas prêts d'oublier.
And I do believe in life you get the jobs that you're supposed to get and you get the co-stars you're supposed to get, and it may not be, you know, like I always tell people when they're casting things, I said the right people will find their way to this job. And the people get fired, people get hired, and you know. And the fact is that it always is the people end up doing it who are supposed to do it. And it was one of those things where you just felt that it was supposed to be that way.
I mean, for me, it will always be that the reason Dirty Dancing succeeded was because of that family kind of collaborative energy, and really got me kind of hell-bent for the rest of my life of this is the only way I will have a movie set be.
Danse lascive connaît encore un tel succès que des rumeurs d'une suite courent toujours. En mai 2000, Artisan Entertainment et les films MUSIMAX annoncent leur intention de produire Danse lascive 2. Le magazine Daily Variety publie un article qui annonce que Natalie Portman et Ricky Martin seraient les favoris pour jouer les rôles anciennement tenus par Jennifer Grey et Partick Swayze. Mais pour les danseurs lascifs du premier film, personne ne pourra recréer la magie qui s'est opérée pendant le tournage de Danse lascive. Ce fut une expérience unique et inoubliable.
Of course, I'm sure everybody says, oh, I knew it all along. Nobody knew we had something special here until it happened, you know.
I knew when I read that script, this movie was going to be the biggest blockbuster to ever hit the screens.
Of course, everybody's got to say that in retrospect so they can, you know, sound right.
Well, I'm always kind of fond of love scenes just because they're so much fun. You don't really have to talk and you can just, you know, fool around. That was fun.
Jennifer got the giggles. And I think she giggled for about an hour and a half. So I was about ready to kill her.
He's like, what, 5'9" or 5'10". Then his arms are another couple of feet. I mean, it's like going up in the air, balancing on two hands, 10 feet in the air. I mean, it's a lot.
I had a torn groin muscle and a torn lower back muscle, and still had to do it. You know, I lived with a massage guy and a voodoo guy, or you know, people spreading incense all over me to say, he can do it. You can push through it and make it happen.
She's like the wind through my tree. She rides the night next to me. She leads me through moonlight, only to burn me with the sun. She's taking my heart, she doesn't know what she's done. Feel her breath in my face, her body close to me. Can't look in her eyes, she's out of my league. Just a fool to believe I have anything she needs. She's like the wind. I look in the mirror and all I see is a young old man with only a dream. Am I just fooling myself that she'll stop the pain? Living without her, I go insane. Feel her breath in my face, her body close to me. Can't look in her eyes, she's out of my league. Just a fool to believe I am anything she needs. She's like the wind. Feel your breath in my face, your body close to me. Can't look in your eyes, you're out of my league. Just a fool to believe